Hi, my name is Clembaderis. This is a case study for EDL 851. Section 1 is the case summary. Ms. Stephen is a new non-tenured teacher at my school. I visited her classroom several times. It is evident she's having difficulty with the students. Students don't appear to be sufficiently involved in learning. They're disinterested in the classroom proceedings. Many of them hardly bother to answer questions, going through the motions. They're up and moving throughout the classroom. Just seems like there's little to no control within the classrooms. Ms. Stevens is an intelligent person who has great knowledge of her subject. That's obvious in her teaching. After meeting and giving feedback, she was not responsive and made no changes in her style or classroom management. She made no attempt to use the feedback that was given to her. After I observed her giving her feedback, not much changed. I went in the next day and nothing changed. I've made the decision to non-renew Ms. Stevens because of lack of control in her classroom and poor student outcome and learning. Upon learning of the decision and my meeting with Ms. Stevens, she became combative. She said she will fight the decision, which could mean legal action. Moving on to section 2 of the case study. Maybe. I'll talk about the ethical and legal issues involved. What ethical and legal issues do I have with non-reviewing a poor performing teacher? First, what's the contract look like? What does the contract state about poor observations and personnel decisions? Does it state that she can be removed for those reasons? Discrimination, I don't see any information giving in the case that would call for discrimination. What kind of professional learning was offered throughout the year? Did we offer multiple days to improve the classroom management? Was professional learning offered? What feedback was given to Ms. Stevens leading up to this point? I'm not sure how many visits were made in the classroom. Um, I'm unaware of how much time she spent speaking with her supervising teacher, myself, and others in collaboration. Legal consequences. Ms. Stevens threatened to take the case to court. That could cause some issues for not only me but for the school. Next, section 3. What is happening? After multiple observations and attempts to help Ms. Stevens with her classroom management skills, I've made the decision to non-renew, and now Ms. Stevens has threatened legal action against the school and myself. Moving on to section 4, the facts of the case. First of all, the people involved in the situation. Myself, the principal, who after multiple observation and attempts to give feedback, has decided to non-renew Ms. Stevens. The supervising teacher, not much information is given about her or him. Typically a mentor teacher, somebody they can bounce question off of, just go to for advice, but not he or she is only mentioned once in the article. Ms. Stevens, a non-tenured teacher in the school, shown poor classroom management and teaching strategies. She is unaccepting of feedback and has made no attempt to change. The students, they're disruptive and unruly in Ms. Stevens' class. They're affected by poor teaching, which causes student outcome to drop. Moving on to the facts. The place in which this occurs includes the type of community, location, and demographics. It's located within a school and in a classroom. It also takes place in my office, the principal's office, where we meet. Little to no demographic information is given, but we can decipher that it was within a school. Continuing section 4, the facts. This includes the type of schools, the curriculum, and grade levels. What evaluation program was used, how many steps are involved, that kind of stuff, how many observations were done, what look-fors were used in those observations. The supervision program, the supervising teacher, was the teacher able to watch other teachers teach in order to learn? How can we help that teacher? I'm unaware of what was done in that situation. And what is supposed to be taught, what curriculum is supposed to be used, how can we guide that teacher to teach that information? Moving to section 5, review and prioritize the information. In order to make a quality decision, we must first review and prioritize the information and how it can affect ourselves, stakeholders, the community, and the students. Who are the stakeholders? First of all, myself, the principal, the other teachers, Miss Stevens, the students, and the parents are all stakeholders in this. How does it impact the stakeholders? If taken to court, it could cause a negative impact on students and the community. It doesn't look very good if we're in court cases, especially if we're trying to attract students to our school and community. What stakeholders are involved? It involves the supervising teacher, principal, the assistant principal, the superintendent. My main thing is be transparent with everybody. Let them know where we stand and how we can make this best for all involved. More information, analyze board policy. What does it say about non-renewing teachers? Are there certain steps that we must take? Maybe speak with legal representation, speak with the school lawyer, speak with the superintendent, assistant principals. I'm unaware of the demographics in this case, but those are all things that I would like to get more information about. Section 6, identify options and consequences. Option 1 is take no action, allow Ms. Stevens to keep her job. I believe the consequences of this, she's not teaching at a high level, which is hurting our student learning, does not help our teacher morale. It allows for poor teaching to be acceptable, which I do not agree with. Option 2 is comprehensive action. Stick to your guns and non-renew Ms. Stevens. Hire a better replacement and help student achievement. Consequences are obviously legal action. Maybe she has friends within the staff that could cause some morale issues within our staff. Option number 3 is the middle ground option. Allow her to keep her job with an action plan. She would become tenured in this option. We need to create a professional learning plan that must be followed. Create peer observation opportunities for Ms. Stevens to allow her to learn. Some of the consequences, effects on the school culture. What does that look like to other teachers when you can do a poor job and continue to teach? Student learning, is this what's best for our kids? And budget, what effects will this have on our budget with allowing more people to help her not only in the classroom but with professional development opportunities. Option 4 is also a middle ground option. Allow Ms. Stevens to keep her job while she's still probationary. Develop a professional learning plan for Ms. Stevens. Create peer observation opportunities. Create an improvement plan. And I believe the consequences of this are still student learning. That's the ultimate goal, is that our students learn at a high level. But through these options, we believe we can create student learning. Moving on to section 7, evaluate your options. I placed them in this chart here. Option 1 with no action. We don't have to hire a new teacher is a pro. We don't have to go on the search and find the correct fit. One of the cons is we're keeping a poor teacher. Not doing what is best for student learning, and it could cause a poor school culture within our school, not only with the students, the staff, but also with all stakeholders involved. Option 2 is the comprehensive approach. Pros, we're getting rid of a low-performing teacher, we're raising student learning, we're hiring a better fit for that spot and that teaching spot. Cons are we must hire a new teacher. We could face that search. We could face some legal action regarding non-renewing Ms. Stevens. Option 3 is the middle ground option. Allows for the teacher to keep her job with an improvement plan. Teacher is giving tenure status, which I believe is a con. Do we have the budget for professional learning that we're going to have to do to get Ms. Stevens up to snuff? And also, is student learning going to be at the status that we want it to be? Option 4 is also a middle ground. It allows Ms. Stevens to keep her job as with a probationary status, no legal action. We can create an improvement plan to meet or be non-renewed if she does not meet those recommendations. Cons, resources. Do we have the resources to improve her teaching? Our budget, what hits does that take on our budget by allowing more people to help her? And time, do we have the time that it takes to improve her? Choosing the best option. I believe at this point option 4 is our best option. After careful consideration and reflection, I believe option 4 creates the best opportunity for our school and students. If she is open to the option and making changes, she could become an asset to our students because of her wealth of knowledge. We're aware that she has a large wealth of knowledge in her subject area. She just needs to find a way to get it out. This allows for improvement of strategies. How can she teach kids? How can we get her on the same page? It develops a collaborative culture because she's working with other staff members, with peer observations, allowing other teachers to help her. It does not go against any of my principles. I believe we should help our teachers get to where they need to be, by whatever means necessary, with the ultimate goal of student improvement. It allows for growth and improvement, not only for her, but for the rest of our staff, because they'll be involved in that constant learning cycle. It shows that I'm willing to lead and my flexibility to improve our teachers and create a collaborative culture. Section 9, implementation. I believe that this is an important aspect. Step 1, I need to develop the improvement plan that outlines the expectations from Ms. Stevens, step by step what she needs to do in order to be renewed the next year. When I'm doing this, I may use assistant principals, principals from other schools, in order to develop this improvement plan that meets the best interest of our students. Step 2, speak with administration and the superintendent about the plan, allow them to have input about the situation. Maybe I left some things out that they have ideas we can add to the improvement plan for Ms. Stevens. Step 3, bring her in, talk to her, let her know the expectations, what she needs to do in order to meet her contract, the observations, the peer teaching, all of those steps that will be outlined for her, and have that conversation with her so she is aware. Moving on to step 4, meet with the supervising teacher to discuss the improvement plan for Ms. Stevens. I think the supervising teacher is a great asset for Ms. Stevens. If we can get somebody who is able and willing to help her along, we can get her to do some peer observations so that they can see new strategies and allow her to improve. Step 5, meet with all relevant stakeholders regarding the implementation of the plan. This may be her PLC group, this could be her department group, whatever it may be, her assistant principals, relevant teachers, so that we can get this implemented within our school. Step 6, present the plan to the superintendent, school board for approval. Maybe they have never done improvement plans. Maybe they've never had to, do a second year probationary teacher, just to make sure that this is all approved through the school board. Moving on to Plan B, Section 9, implementation. If Ms. Stevens rejects the terms of her contract, she will be non-renewed. We will begin the search for replacement. I will have this plan approved prior to meeting with Ms. Stevens. I'll have talked to the superintendent, the school board, prior to having my meeting with Ms. Stevens, just so they are aware that if she is unaccepting of the implementation of this, that this will be our Plan B. Moving on to Section 10, our standards, and NELP Standard 7, building professional capacity. Component 7.4, program completers understand and have the capacity to evaluate, develop, and implement systems of supervision, support, and evaluation designed to promote school improvement and student success. Thank you for your time. I enjoyed the class.